Breaking news, Diddy has been denied bail. He's going to jail.
Court documents allege Combs often hit, kicked, threw objects at, and dragged victims at times by their hair. He also allegedly kidnapped someone at gunpoint and set someone's car on fire by dropping a Molotov cocktail inside.
Well, if you don't know this too, just days before Diddy got arrested, Jay Z was on the phone with him, and sources say he's been acting shady ever since. Rumors are swirling about what they talked about on that call, and it's got people thinking there's way more to this story.
Jay Z ain't answering the phone?
He ain't answering the motherfucking phone.
Diddy and Jay Z go way, way back, and now that justice is finally being served, it looks like Diddy isn't the type to take one for the team. He's going down, and he's taking everybody with him, starting with his closest companions, who were eerily silent since this controversy started. Everybody is aware of the Diddy situation by now, at least they know that something big has been going on. It's been some time since his actions and true personality was brought to light, but only now are we getting solid news on what's been happening behind the scene.
Here in New York, a judge has ruled music mogul Sean Diddy Combs must remain in jail as he awaits trial on a wide range of charges involving the alleged serial abuse of women. He denies all the charges. Jerika Duncan is outside the courthouse. Jerika, good morning.
Good morning to you, Nate. You know, when you think of Sean Diddy Combs, this is someone who has had an undeniable influence in hip-hop culture that goes beyond music. But it is that influence that prosecutors say allowed him to get away with crimes for decades.
Fortunately, unlike usual, the law didn't disappoint this time. Federal investigators have unearthed a substantial amount of evidence at the homes of P. Diddy, resulting in his indictment on multiple federal charges, including racketeering, sex trafficking by force, fraud or coercion, and transportation to engage in prostitution.
Leaving a Manhattan courthouse Tuesday, lawyers for media mogul Sean Diddy Combs insisted he is innocent.
He didn't do these things. There's no coercion. There's no crime.
And vowed to get the 54-year-old out of jail with a bail appeal.
What was the first thing that he said to you after he realized that he was going back to jail tonight?
I'll see you tomorrow.
But federal prosecutors argue the former hip-hop star is a serial abuser who used his business empire to lead a criminal enterprise that abused, threatened, and coerced women into sexual acts at events he arranged called freak-offs.
The freak-offs sometimes lasted days at a time, involved multiple commercial sex workers, and often involved a variety of narcotics, which Combs distributed to the victims to keep them obedient and compliant.
This comprehensive investigation revealed an extensive collection of items, including firearms, ammunition, electronic records, and more than 1,000 bottles of personal lubricant. Diddy, who was apprehended in New York, has pleaded not guilty and is currently held in Brooklyn's notorious Metropolitan Detention Center.
Homeland Security raided Combs' Miami and Los Angeles homes in March. Prosecutors say agents seized narcotics, recordings of sex acts, and firearms, including 3 AR-15s allegedly used to intimidate victims and witnesses.
Big smile, Diddy!
In one instance, prosecutors said just this month, Combs reached out to a former bandmate of alleged victim Don Richard more than 50 times in a span of 4 days. That former bandmate then made a public statement saying they were not aware of any abusive behavior from Combs.
The clear implication there is that there's witness tampering, that he was trying to talk her into making some negative comments about Dawn publicly.
Attorney Lisa Bloom represents Richard, who filed a civil case against Combs last week.
We really appreciate the power of the U.S. government going after Sean Combs and prosecuting him for what's only been whispered about for decades.
Federal prosecutors say they've interviewed more than 50 witnesses and potential victims. They expect that number to grow. If Combs is convicted on these crimes, he faces 15 years to life in prison. Very, very serious charges here.
The arrest of Sean P. Diddy Combs, a music mogul and influential figure in the entertainment industry, sent shockwaves through the media.
But were you surprised at how extensive and disturbing the charges were, or did it feel par for the course given everything else that he's been accused of?
Let me just say this: his attorney said he would plead not guilty.
Right.
To everything. And RICO cases or racketeering cases
are not that common, but racketeering convictions are very common in the federal government. Federal prosecutors generally don't lose these kinds of cases. And this was more disturbing to me. It's only 14 pages, but within the 14 pages, it describes mob-like behavior. These cases are generally brought against mobs. So they are describing a criminal enterprise that involved trafficking of underage people across state lines to have sex, and they dubbed them freak-offs.
Homeland Security detained Diddy at the Park Hyatt in New York following a grand jury's indictment on charges that paint a grim picture of his alleged activities. According to his legal team, Diddy had been in the city for a week, possibly anticipating the charges. The indictment was unsealed on Tuesday, and Diddy appeared in federal court, where he pleaded not guilty and was denied bail by the judge.
After a second judge overseeing his federal criminal case denied him bond once again.
The fight continues. We're not giving up by a long shot.
Outside the New York City courthouse, his lawyer defiant.
He believes he's innocent. I believe he's innocent. And we're going to fight this case with all of our might until we don't have to fight any longer.
The judge ruling the bail package presented by Combs' lawyer was insufficient, siding with prosecutors who called Combs a threat to society, adding there is no condition that would assure that the rapper would not obstruct justice. A major topic of discussion ahead of the ruling, this troubled 2016 video that shows Combs brutally beating his then-girlfriend, singer Cassie, who prosecutors say was attempting to escape from one of Combs' so-called freak-offs.
The investigation into Diddy's activities began in earnest when federal investigators issued search warrants on 2 of his homes earlier this year. Experts suggested that it was not a matter of if, but when Diddy would face arrest. The search warrants targeted electronic evidence of alleged illegal activities, including sexual assault and racketeering.
However, prosecutors, who were adamant Combs remain in custody, pointed to what they describe as a massive amount of evidence, including text messages read in court from women accusing Combs of physical and sexual violence that went on for decades, and vast efforts to cover it up, adding witnesses universally share an extreme fear of the defendant.
So, Chloe, he's being held in Brooklyn at this jail, this prison. What else do we know about that?
So it's this detention center in Brooklyn, and he is in this very special portion of the facility that offers an extra layer of security for high-profile individuals who could be targeted among the general population. And that could mean that he's limited to facilities like the library and the phone, so could make it hard, his lawyers are saying, for him to be able to prepare for trial. And because of all of this, Combs' attorney is actually asking for him to be moved to a New Jersey jail. But a judge said that that's ultimately going to be up to the Bureau of Prisons to decide. I mean, he can continue to appeal this and can appeal the bond, right? But you saw it with Ghislaine Maxwell. She continued to appeal and was not successful. Now 2 federal judges saying, you got to stay behind bars.
The origins of these allegations date back to November of the previous year, when Cassandra Ventura, known publicly as the singer Cassie, filed a civil suit against Diddy.
Well, I'm glad, because I want to go there next, because he went after the victims that came forward, including Cassie. It was a disgusting sort of a defense. He says he thinks this is all eminently manageable. He doesn't have a criminal record. He was acquitted. He's ready to do it again. Trying to just play it like this is all bad. Oh, who are these victims? He's not a perfect person. These toxic relationships were mutual. So now he's putting all the blame on them. Now he's trying to be better for the rest of his days. Oh, okay. Well, he's learned his lesson, guys. He's trying to be better, so give him a slap on the wrist. If there's one thing we've seen, we should stand by people who are trying to get the help they need. Look, I'm all for past accountability, but when you go out and try to shame Cassie, saying she's a liar and a clout chaser the way you did, and then you only came forward because the evidence you thought you paid off wasn't paid off, dude, you're dead. You're dead to me. You're done, Zoe. Diddy is done.
She accused him of physical and emotional abuse, forcing her to carry illegal weapons and coercing her into sexual acts with prostitutes. Although the lawsuit was settled out of court within a day, it marked the beginning of a wave of similar accusations. The evidence collected is extensive and disturbing.
How did this hotel footage find its way? I wonder how that happened. We didn't have it. Yeah, because you deleted it. This was just awful. This was just disgusting to watch. Two people were in a hotel room, an issue that Mr. Combs had more than one girlfriend. Okay, victim one looked through his phone, saw that, and hit him in the head with a cell phone, and took his clothing. So he comes out in a towel. This is how they're trying to justify that video. That infamous video, that deplorable, disgusting video that shows the worst. Here it is again. There it is. Oh, well, that justifies it. That justifies what he did to her. I mean, it is truly shameful that they're trying to victim blame Cassie.
Investigators seized more than 1,000 bottles of baby oil and personal lubricant, which were allegedly used in what Diddy referred to as freak-offs. These events were elaborate and organized sexual performances that Diddy directed, often recording the acts. The court documents describe these gatherings as involving commercial sex workers, transported across state lines and internationally, with victims reportedly given controlled substances to ensure compliance. The raids also uncovered narcotics, including methamphetamine and prescription drugs, as well as 3 AR-15 rifles with defaced serial numbers, ammunition, and a large-capacity drum magazine. These items, particularly the firearms with removed serial numbers, suggest efforts to conceal illegal activities. The meticulous cataloguing and analysis of this evidence by federal investigators were crucial in building the case against Diddy.
Now, Lewis, I want to get you into, like, there was a part here where they were trying to defend these guns that had, the serial numbers off. And he's trying to claim, well, my security keeps the guns in them. It's not Mr. Combs. Would you keep an unregistered serial number scratched out weapon like that in your home bedroom closet, Lewis? Does that seem like a fair argument?
Oh, it was a lame defense too, because why would a legitimate security company scratch out the serial number? Does that make any sense? I don't think they could do that. So look, this guy, he tricked me to a certain extent. I thought he was going to get bail. Because the way he acts, he's taking selfie pictures with fans minutes before he got arrested yesterday.
Former CIA officer and FBI agent Tracy Walder provided insights into the investigation and the challenges of securing a federal search warrant. She explained that such warrants are issued when there is imminent risk of evidence destruction or danger to lives. In Diddy's case, the former was likely the justification. The execution of these warrants by tactical SWAT teams, given the presence of armed security and weapons, was a procedural necessity to ensure safety. Walder also noted the methodical nature of the search, with investigators meticulously documenting and cataloguing all evidence. This process involved searching for digital evidence, such as flash drives and other storage devices, which might contain incriminating information.
Yeah, I mean, in a case like this, obviously you're not making any kind of a dynamic entry. This isn't a hostage situation, right? Where that's not what's happening here. However, they did know that there would be weapons there, armed security, those kinds of things. That's why you saw those warrants being served by, for the most part, a tactical SWAT team. Simply, that is procedure to keep everyone safe.
The indictment and subsequent arrest of Diddy have far-reaching implications for his career and personal relationships. Diddy, once accustomed to the luxuries of private jets and sprawling mansions, now finds himself confined to a facility often described as hell on earth. The Metropolitan Detention Center, MDC, has garnered a notorious reputation for its appalling living conditions.
Music mogul Sean Diddy Combs spent his first night behind bars inside a facility that is being called hell on earth. The Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn is notorious for its appalling living conditions and rampant violence. How bad is it inside this federal lockup? There have been 2 murders, 4 suicides, and numerous stabbings and lockdowns in recent years. It's so out of control inside that 4 federal judges are reportedly refusing to send any more prisoners here.
Michael Cohen, former fixer for Donald Trump, spent a harrowing year in federal custody and described the stark contrast Diddy would experience compared to his previous life of luxury. Inmates are provided minimal space, with a basic setup consisting of a desk, a plastic chair, a bed with a thin mattress, no pillow, and a small locker.
Donald Trump's former fixer, Michael Cohen, spent a harrowing year in federal custody. He says for someone used to a life of luxury like Diddy, prison life is a severe shock.
You have a desk, you have a plastic chair, you have your bed with a 1.5-inch mattress, no pillow, and you also have a locker. So you basically have 3 feet by 5 feet to move around. So you have a basic 15 square feet. It is a horrible place.
Diddy's legal team has been fervently attempting to secure his release on bail. They offered his $48 million Miami Beach mansion and his private jets as bail collateral. The defense argued that the conditions at the MDC are dreadful, inhumane, and represent an ongoing tragedy.
Diddy's lawyers were so eager to keep him out of jail, they offered his palatial $48 million home in Miami Beach and his private jets as bail. Today, they are even offering to restrict female visitors to his homes, except for his mother, daughters, and the mothers of his children if he is released. They told the judge the jail he was being sent to is dreadful, dirty, inhuman, and an ongoing tragedy.
Despite these efforts, the judge cited Diddy's history of violent temper and the potential for witness intimidation as reasons for denying bail. The ruling ensures that Diddy remains in custody until his trial.
There's really no deal that the U.S. Attorney's Office can offer, and it's certainly not one that Diddy will accept. It would involve decades in federal prison. We're talking about mandatory minimum sentences of 10 years for both the drug charges and the sex trafficking. So we know that Diddy has fought charges before. There were state charges, there were gun-related, the nightclub shooting with J-Lo, but he's going to dig in his heels, and this case is going to trial. So if you're prosecutors, you really want to make sure that your evidence is bulletproof.
The response from those close to Diddy has been mixed. Family members appeared somber as they arrived at federal court in Manhattan for another attempt to secure bail. In contrast, Diddy's former protege, singer Aubrey O'Day, publicly celebrated his downfall, viewing it as a victory for women. With Diddy out of the way, we're left with those close to him. Truths have been coming out this year, and rumors suggest that his parties were attended by a good part of Hollywood and even high-profile people like politicians. One person everybody knows has always had a good relationship with Sean is Jay Z. You'd think that after a friendship that lasted decades, Jay would have something to say about the horrifying allegations against his friend. But instead, we were met with silence, not only from Jay Z, but from everybody in Diddy's circle. Not a word of defense, probably the first indication that the allegations were true.
Jay Z ain't answering the phone?
He ain't answering the motherfucking phone.
On the other hand, tensions are high, and every celebrity that mingled with Diddy is holding their breath. Jay Z, most of all, has eyes on him.
Will Diddy start snitching?
He better. But the only thing I'm interested in him talking about is everything he knows about Kathy Coriana White, Jay-Z's pregnant mistress, who died 24 hours after she announced that she was going public with their relationship and the baby while he was married to Beyonce. See, I know you know what happened to Corey, Diddy, you and Jay Z. Down in Vegas at Tao with Claudia. Why don't you just talk about Kathy? That might help. Was it an aneurysm, Diddy? Or are you the one who paid the same coroner that you... Oh, Diddy, you should talk.
Despite his desperate attempts to distance himself from Combs and the scandal, he is just one wrong move away from being under fire.
Breaking news. You know that Diddy got arrested, but you don't know that Jay Z is not feeling any good now. Well, if you don't know this too, just days before Diddy got arrested, Jay Z was on the phone with him, and sources say he's been acting shady ever since. Rumors are swirling about what they talked about on that call, and it's got people thinking there's way more to this story. The tension's real, and some insiders are saying Jay Z's trying to distance himself from Diddy ASAP, like he knows something big is about to go down. Why not? And we know how close they were for each other ever since. Could Jay Z be caught up in something more? We never know, but no one can unsee their clips and pictures together.
On the other hand, people are hoping that Diddy himself snitches on everybody that was involved with him when he realizes there is no way out of prison life. That's it for now. Don't forget to tell us what you think in the comments below. For more updates, hit the bell icon.